talk to the world about your snow problems.
And about the snow problems, the really wet snow that won't go away.
Oh no, let me go look at it.
It it's here to stay, man. It's here to stay.
Yeah, it's coming down quite nicely there.
Yes, yes, it is.
Yes, yes.
Irritatingly so. I'm gonna have to go bang that frickin' tarp off again.
It looks like you got about half it so far.
Something like that. But that tarp is so tender. You have to bang the snow off it every time that it starts collecting. Otherwise, the
Yeah,
tarp is just gonna collapse.
yeah, well, it's snowing quite nicely there.
You know
So,
what's funny? We
no.
actually had some city workers here today.
Mhm.
Uh,
What for?
I guess there was a leak across the street, so there was a leak across the street. They were fixing it.
Oh,
And, the fella, he came to talk to me to let me know they had to turn off the water for 30 minutes.
mm,
Water's back on, we're all good now, but, like,
yeah.
when he came over to talk to me, it was while I was banging off the tarp, and
Mhm.
he said that he had the exact same one, and what he did is he took a bunch of, 2x1s, and he put them from the outer edge up to the center pole. He just put t I think he put 2.
You're breaking up again.
Am I?
Yeah, I'm hearing word, 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 word.
Hmm. Maybe it does have to do with the weather.
Well, we discovered that when it was really cold and you had to wrap the thing up to keep it warm.
I did wrap the thing up. It's still wrapped up and happy.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe there's moisture in it again.
It has the anti-moisture thing around it.
Oh, okay. Well, then I have no idea. We'll just have to go with what we got, and we'll just have to live and learn and listen to the bits and pieces that are irritating.
Mhm.
As whatever we can only do so much. It is the internet. Could be worse. Oh, actually, though, you know what's one funny is thinking of getting Starlink. Is that Starlink dish actually has a warmer to melt snow,
Oh,
and
nice.
there's pictures of cats who have discovered that.
Oh. Oh, dear.
So they climb up into the dish when it's warming up.
Won't take long for the ravens to figure it out too.
Yep, they'll be building their nest in your nice warm winter dish.
Yep.
I just thought it was funny. The first time I saw it, I was like, why are the cats sitting in the dish? And then if I read up on it, oh, the thing warms up so it can keep it warm in snowy weather so that you don't have to go out and clear snow from your dish so you can get your internet.
That is pretty cool. You know, cats, not so bad. Ravens, though, that's gonna be an issue.
Well, could be. Could very well be. But yeah, it's just kind of funny. I keep forgetting I got to go look into the getting the Elon Musk dish thing.
I am very interested, although, and I have this in the news today,
Hmm.
Amazon's, uh, rival version is coming along fairly nicely, apparently.
Huh. They must be using Elon satellites. I mean, I didn't know Amazon was pumping satellites into the sky, but then they'll be paying Elon to launch most of them, so he makes money either way.
Well, I'll bring it up when we get to the news.
Okay. All right. Well, whatever it's going to be, it's going to be.
Hopefully, I don't break up too much.
Yeah, well, we can only hope. We can only hope that it continues to work the way it's supposed to work and that we get some good, clear stuff.
If nothing else, if I keep breaking up, we can always pass the torch on to you.
Yeah, and
You can do all the talking.
I can do all the talking. I don't want to do all the talking. I got that in your hands for the most part. I hardly say anything on the show now. It's really great.
I know, but you know, if I keep breaking up like this, nobody's gonna understand me.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, I don't do the notes anymore, so I have to actually read the damn things.
You do.
Although,
Live read, baby.
well, I'm good at live reading. That's how I used to do most of my stuff was live reading anyway. So
Well, there you go. See?
I got years of practice at this crap now. Way too many years. Going on 15 years now.
Well, then it won't be an issue if I have to pass the torch on to you because for some reason
I
I'm just not working.
didn't say I couldn't do it. I just said it's a pain in the neck.
And entertaining because of that.
Entertaining for who? Not me.
Me.
Oh.
No, entertaining for me.
Well, we're so glad we can provide entertainment.
Well, for me and for just about anyone else who's listening.
Uh-huh. Which is all of nobody right now.
Got your alter ego.
Well, that's it. If my alter ego's even listening at the moment.
Is it about song time?
Almost. We're almost there.
Almost?
We have to, you know, I want to time it, so I always bring it out so I time it as close as possible to the actual 12:30 official start time.
Yeah, see, my mic sits right in front of the time on the screen, so I've never really looked at the clock exactly when you turn the music on.
Well, see, the music is exactly 2 minutes and 48 seconds long.
Ah.
So, you know, I have to kind of time it so we get up there to the, 12:27 and a bit to get it to so where it rolls right up to right near 12 o'clock, you know. And we're just about there. We're about 5 seconds away. It's amazing how many words you can say in 10 seconds.
It really is. It's also kind of surprising how few words you can write. And maybe that's why writing helps to clarify the mind, because you have to slow down your thoughts in order to write it all out.
Yep, exactly. And with that piece of wisdom, it's music time.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
I say it's time.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress Plugins A to Z, not Z.
Dragons and WordPress plugins. It's episode 619, and we have plugins for rotating images, classical editing, and WordPress news, all coming up on WordPress plugins from A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress Plugins from A
to Z.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the brewery overlooking beautiful southern Vancouver Island. I'm John Overall, and with me is the ever lovely
Amber overall.
And we have a wonderful show for you today, of course. Welcome to the new year, 2024. Everything is happening, and it is the year of the dragon coming up. And it's going to be a lovely year for many, many people. And for some people, well, maybe not so much. But we do have lots of fun and challenges, and we will continue to do this show every couple of weeks for you all. Because, well, life is in the way, but every couple of weeks, we'll be bringing you the best of the WordPress plugins we can. And since it is a dragon year, we're going to live a challenge here to see if we can bring nothing but 5 dragon plugins for the entire year, just to make it fun. Searching out the best of the plugins for this year, and the free ones in the best zone. And maybe the occasional paid ones. Well, with all that being said, I seem to really be winded today, so what the hell?
Thank you for sharing, John. Now get down from that soapbox.
5 dragon plugins only, huh? That should be interesting.
Well, at least I'm going to give it a try. I thought
It's worth a shot.
Well, it is the year of the dragon, so, I've had the dragon rating since, like, the episode 20 or something, when one of my listeners suggested that I should just change the rating from stars to dragons because it sounded cooler. And then somewhere around episode 100, one of our listeners donated the dragon noise for us. So I didn't even create that. That came from the listeners from way back. A lot of changes in the show have been done because of listener direction. We haven't had a lot of listener direction to the show for a while. And to be truthful, I ignored the listeners for a few years. So what can I say?
Yeah, you get tired. It happens.
Well, I was burned out. I was ready to rip the world apart, and the world was busy stuffing crap down my throat. And, I was really... But...
Yeah, you're really not happy about the Gutenberg. That's okay, though.
Well, yeah, that was my problem. That was my problem when they crammed Gutenberg down my throat.
Well, welcome to episode 619, Dragons and WordPress Plugins. Got a couple of great in-depth plugins to cover for you, and some recent news in both the WordPress world and the tech world in general. And a couple of okay-ish WordPress tips. They're not awesome this week. I would love to hear from our producers out there and maybe get some awesome WordPress tips. Happy New Year's, everyone! I don't know if anybody bothered watching our pre-recorded one. We talked about a few different things and where we think AI and stuff might be heading. It's actually kind of a cool show.
It was a good show.
Yeah. And I don't know about anyone else out there, but it started snowing here today.
Yeah, well, it's not snowing down here. Southern end of the island is nice and warm and rainy.
I am so cranky about the snow. My youngest loves it. She was just over the moon and happy and giggly and like going outside and skipping around in it before she was even ready for school.
Well, she's been doing the snow dance for weeks.
My older one, though, she was sitting there looking at the snow, staring at it, sipping her tea while I was sipping my coffee, and we both grumbled.
Well,
A few reminders before we start the show today. Reminder that our show is now every other week, and that starts at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time, with the pre-stream starting around about 12:15 Pacific time. Pre-stream is where we twiddle with the dials and knobs and really just warm up our voices. You can join us there for some entertainment. Our show notes for each episode can be found at wppluginsa-z.com. The newest show notes will be up within 24 hours and on our front page. And don't forget, this is a value for value show. You are a big part of its creation. You are our producers, and we need you to help us to produce. Get on out there, hit some like buttons, share an episode or two, and let people know that you helped to produce the longest running WordPress plugins podcast. That's it for reminders, so on to the artist, who is...
Sir Rogue of the Taverns, Baron of the Couch and Valley.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, that's my official title, given to me by the No Agenda show, so...
This is true.
So, anyway, I created a really nice piece of art. Well, I didn't create it all. I sort of stole it somewhere and made it work. Paid for art, anyway. I thought it would be really cool to, toss up the Year of the Dragon for 2024.
Well, it's not technically Year of the Dragon until February, but it is a pretty cool thing.
It was way cooler than any other Happy New Year art that I could find to use. So
yeah, it is. Honestly, it is way cooler. Dragon is just neat.
Yeah. So you want to see the full picture, you got to go look at the thumbnail for YouTube, because Unfortunately, it's a wider than it is tall picture. So because we can only use square photos for everything here on the downloads, you get the square one with the tails cut off.
Well, if anyone out there would like to send in some new art, we would love to get some art from our producers. If you are wanting to send in art, but you hit a wall, you don't know what to make, take a walk through our art vaults. You can go to our site and click on art vaults on the left-hand menu. You'll get all kinds of inspiration from there. Also, hi Hemdian, good to see you.
Yay, welcome back, Hemdian. Happy New Year's.
Hopefully your 2024 is going well so far, Hemdian.
All right.
Time for some news.
We do need news. We need this.
Please, can everybody be quiet? Please be quiet. Shut up! And now the news with Amber.
So the first thing I've got for everyone today is WordPress Vulnerability Report. This one is from December 13th. It's the most recent one from the now Solid WP's Vulnerability Report, probably due to holidays and stuff. The timing of when they do the reports, I think they do the reports on Thursday, so we can probably expect their next one to be this Thursday. The ones I most easily recognize here are custom login, event manager / event calendar / event tickets for WooCommerce. It's all one plugin. CSV importer and guest author. A lot of these have been fixed. Another one that got a pretty bad vulnerability was Google Fonts. So there was a lot of pretty rough things going on with Google Fonts especially. I'll get to that in a second. But make sure that you double check both this list and the next one, which is the Patch Stack Vulnerability Report. Now, the WordPress Vulnerability Report is great for organization, but the patchstack.com one, I gotta say, I'm going there more and more because they actually have the most recent available for the most part. Like at the time of writing this, there was the most recent one 3 days ago. I really like this. This is a really cool let's confirm you are a human thing.
I look at that. That's a really interesting, different one to confirm you're human.
I love it. It's so much fun. It reminds me of video games. Yeah, so on here, you get to this. If you follow the link in our show notes here, it'll bring you here. And you can look to see what has most recently happened. Like the first one there is a plugin, and it tells you what is going on with it. You can click on it for more information. I would say that this is probably a better one than Solid WP at this point because they are keeping up to date. They're not missing any times. So worth looking at these guys more often. Regarding the WordPress Google Fonts plugin vulnerability, that's what we have up here next, affecting up to 300,000 sites. This was a pretty bad one. This was written on January 2nd, so this happened sometime around New Year's. It's a vulnerability that was a cross-site scripting, so it made it possible for people to get in there and delete things. It allowed unauthenticated attackers to delete directories and stage cross-site scripting attacks. It was patched as quickly as possible, but there was damage done. If you haven't updated if you use this and you haven't updated your Google Fonts plugin, you might want to get on it.
Which plugin is it?
Google Fonts plugin. It's called Google Fonts.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't use that.
No, it's not one we tend to use, but it is very popular. So.
No. Yeah, if it affected 300,000 sites, I'd say it's popular.
Yeah. So if you haven't already updated, do so. But also once you've updated, I would say have a look through. Just make sure that you don't have any unknown directories in there. Next, we have quishing alerts.
We're back.
I just think I love the word quishing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the QR code scamming. It's been around for a very long time, and for a while there, it was not too bad, but I guess it's getting worse again.
It is. Definitely be careful when you're doing the QR code thing. I mean, you really have no clue what's actually in that jumbled mess there.
Yep.
So one of the reasons why it's becoming so much more of an issue is because phones come with QR code reader pre-installed, and everybody from restaurants to websites are using QR codes.
Yeah, and if you just take a picture of the QR code, it automatically scans it and sends you on your way, or asks you if you want to go on your way.
And something else I've noticed, libraries, like the school libraries, have a QR code thing. So you can, like, you know, it's to help you become part of the school thing or school spirit or what have you. But the kids have used the QR code scanner on their phones at school for school things. So, like, everybody is starting to use the QR code in weird places. So be aware of the QR thing. And also, quishing is just a cool word. And for those who have never heard the word quishing until today, like me, it is an extension of phishing attacks. Instead of a hyperlink to a fraudulent or malicious website, the attacker uses a QR code to deliver the URL. Since most email security systems are not reading the contents of QR codes, it is difficult to prevent the ingress of these messages. And those are the words of Steve Jeffrey, lead solutions engineer at Fortra, a global security and automation company.
Yep.
He explained it really well, so I figured I'd put his words there. I like Hemdian's thing, all new year, all new things to make me grumpy. Sounds about right. And then the next thing we have here is the tech forecast. Better cyber coexistence, productivity, and privacy. That's what you're already on, though, isn't it?
Yep.
No, you're still on the...
No, I've moved.
You're still on the QR? Okay.
Yeah, if you're watching the YouTube version of it all, you're behind by 30 seconds.
Okay. Yes, I am 30 seconds behind. Now you're on the coexistence one, according to what I see. So this is actually pretty cool. It may not really seem like a proper WordPress information item, but in my opinion, anything to do with cyber existence of any kind is kind of about WordPress too, isn't it? So in this article, the writer talks about cyber attacks force privacy laws and their lack of teeth, differences we can expect to have with AI working security, some decent tech-based trends to keep an eye open for, the leaps quantum computing has been taking over the last year, expanding adoption of rejuvenated Gen AI, meaning how we are currently witnessing the renaissance of AI, recent advancements promising to redefine the boundaries of machine-led creation and other information along, things along those lines, and whether or not we should think about pushing the pause button on AI expectations. It's a very interesting article. I didn't read it totally in depth, I have to admit. There is a lot there. But just scanning over it and reading the bits and pieces in each section there, really cool. I like some of the things he has to say. I disagree with some other things. But it's a good article.
Cool.
And the last one for today is Amazon's competitor to Musk's Starlink takes critical step toward deployment. So I thought this was very interesting. I've been wanting to get Starlink for about a year now. Like we were actually talking about right before the show. And I haven't really heard anything about Amazon's Project Cooper. I haven't really heard anything at all about that, even though it was a thing. It's a low orbit satellite, and the goal is to get enough out there so that they can talk to each other with a laser, but it's essentially creating like a mesh net in low orbit, but with laser and satellites. I don't think it's going to work very well because, in my opinion, having so many, like you have a bunch of satellites in low orbit that each satellite is connected to like 4 or 5 different other satellites with a laser, and they're all talking to each other. What happens if one of them goes out? Does the whole thing go out like the old Christmas light strings?
Yeah, possibly. But what happens if a piece of space junk gets in the middle of that laser?
That's the other thing I was thinking about. What happens when, because we always have space junk coming in.
Well,
always.
Look at
it usually just burns up.
Look at the photo there of the number of satellites that they show that are around the Earth. Come on.
Yeah, Exactly.
Surprised
So
they can launch anything into space nowadays.
So if we have that much junk and that much junk is coming down, I mean, I don't see it working.
Well, I have no idea. I don't know how Starlink works, so I haven't dug
Well,
in down.
Starlink is point to point. Like it's
Yes.
a typical satellite. You know, they search for each other and they transfer the data, but they don't need to
But
have
are they transferring the
connection
data
through
via?
a laser.
Oh, so they're transferring it via radio, basically.
Yeah, but these guys want to do it through a laser.
Yeah,
So they want to have like if it did work, it would be absolutely the fastest, the bestest thing ever. But unless you actually like physically catch all these and make them impenetrable, then you're not going to be able to keep the lasers in contact with each other, I don't think.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Winds do not move like that.
No.
And neither do orbits. Orbits are not perfect, despite what people seem to think. Orbits have their sudden jolts and things, just like the planet. Yeah, I find it very interesting. This is something I would love to have some feedback on from our listeners out there.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. See what people have to say. Like the Cooper belt. We have a belt of stuff. Oh, okay.
Kuiper. Okay, so it might be pronounced Kuiper. Well, that would make sense. If it's pronounced Kuiper, like the Kuiper belt, then it would make sense. Yep, that's exactly how they spelled it. They spelled it like the Kuiper belt.
Yep.
For the Kuiper project.
Okay. All right. Onward, forward.
And then we've got some extras hanging out in the extra zone. There's some pretty cool stuff in here. My favorite one that I thought was really fun to read was the author of Ready Player One has launched his own Torment Nexus.
Torment Nexus?
Yeah, I think that no, did I write that right? I don't think I did.
What the hell is a Torment Nexus?
Yeah, Torment Nexus. The guy who warned us about the metaverse is launching a metaverse company.
Oh.
Yeah. I just thought that was really cool. So definitely recommend people read about it.
Not Torment, Tor Network.
Really?
Oh no, maybe not. It does say Torment.
It says Torment.
That was never mind. I'll have to read that later. That's just bizarre. Okay. All right.
But yeah.
Well, I suppose all those extras, all that random stuff, I think we should just jump right into talking about some plugins. All right, first one I've got for you here is one that may save you some grief, especially if you use your smartphone for taking a lot of your images, which many people do now, including me. When I take images for my website, I use my smartphone because it's easier than the hassles of my beautiful camera, which takes way better photos, but it is just a quick photo of what you need. And there are times where you upload those photos from your phone and WordPress just goes, you know what? I think this one should be sideways. And it spins it on you. Well, somebody has created a plugin to fix that image rotation problem, which is based upon the EXIF data, which is in your every picture you upload, and to reorientate that picture so that it is the right proper orientation that you originally took the photo at, not how the website decides it wants to display it. And this is, while this functionality has been implemented in WordPress since 5.3, it's broken at times and doesn't work. And it doesn't take care of edge cases, which happens to me regularly. And this plugin actually goes in, and when you upload it, it reorients it, and it does it before it makes all the sub-images made from your image. So it's a really great plugin. It's free, very simple. You upload it, and it takes care of monitoring and dealing with the images as you upload them to your site. So go check this one out. It's called Fix Image Rotation, and I have given it a 5 dragon rating to start the year off right.
Just before I move on to the tips here, Hemdian said they should man the satellites with sharks to target the lasers.
We want
That's just awesome.
Sharks with freaking lasers mounted to them.
Heck yeah. with freaking laser beams, man.
Maybe you should just
All right, so WordPress tip.
All right. And then we can go to... There you go.
We would love to hear some tidbit tips from some of our producers out there. What did you figure out by breaking something? Or what did you need to learn in order to help someone? You can send these tidbits into me at amber@wppro.ca. I talked right there, didn't I?
Oh, that's the very beginning. You actually, I got it just before you started talking, so you're good.
Oh, perfect. Making sites. So when working on a site, you might feel a little overwhelmed when you first start. You just don't know what to do, where to start. Because, it's all kind of one giant big ball of string that just been tangled up. Treat it like a messy kitchen. Choose a corner, start there, and work your way out. Once you start focusing on a small detail of something, the rest just sort of comes together as you realize the various things you need to do elsewhere in order to complete whichever task you are currently working on. It's amazing, actually, how utterly interconnected everything is on a website. You can't create a footer without first getting the font and colors correct, and you can't create a header without first knowing what content you are going to have, etc. Everything is interconnected, kind of like a spider web, which I don't know why I never thought about this before. Maybe that's why they call those bots that do the crawling spider bots.
That's exactly why they call them. Why do you think they call it the web?
It never occurred to me to wonder because I just grew up knowing it as the interweb.
Well, you see, I grew up helping to assemble the fucking thing, so...
Yeah, it was already named and it was already just part of life when I was growing up. So I never really thought about it. It's kind of like how people never wonder why they use a wooden spoon. Well, there's actually a reason why you cook with a wooden spoon, but you have to go and ask someone about it in order to learn it. So it's just a kind of cool thing that I had a sudden realization on. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yep.
No matter how overwhelming something is, there's always going to be a way through it. Remember, the way you eat an elephant is just one bite at a time. And beginner's tips. So this, I think, is kind of important for people to really think about. What happens if you're not keeping up with your workload? Well, first step, be honest with yourself and ask why not. Sometimes it will be because you've been sick. Or sometimes it's because you've been putting your energies elsewhere. Or sometimes it's simply because you've been too laser focused on that Netflix binge. But you got to be honest with yourself. Why aren't you keeping up with your workload? Whatever the case is, after you've been honest with yourself, now it's time to go and be honest with your coworkers and your boss. Don't try to keep it a secret that you're not keeping up with your workload, because they will find out. And if they find out on their own, they're probably going to be a lot more grr-arg about it than if you had just fessed up and talked to them. Perhaps ask them for some help. Even if they can't help by taking a bit of the load off your plate, they might be able to help with setting up your schedule or something. There are plenty of ways that you can get the help you need in order to catch up on your workload and then get up on top of that mountain again. But you're not going to get that help if you try to hide and try to do it all on your own in your own time. It's just not going to work. So fess up. It makes life a lot easier and it makes for a lot happier clients. I think the biggest thing there is learn to swallow your pride and life will be a lot better. Emian said, the danger of working on one small area at a time is you can get stuck down a rabbit hole to the exclusion of all else. Yes, that is a very true issue. I have done that before, and I've had to be poked and prodded to get out of that little spot.
Well, I don't know. If you suffer enough ADHD, though, that's usually not a problem.
That is true. ADHD does help to prevent this because as a person with ADHD, I'll get stuck down a rabbit hole. Sometimes I have to be poked and prodded to get out of it, but usually what ends up happening is I get an idea and I flip over to something else. I'm like, oh, hey, look, there we go. I have to do this in order to do this.
Yes, that's what happens to me. I just like, I'm doing suddenly like, wait a minute, I can go do this. Next thing I know, I'm off to somewhere else. Oh God, I go back to that project I was working on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Although the hyper-focus thing, that can be a danger if it is really interesting.
True, but only if it's really interesting.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess it's time for you.
Did the noise happen?
You don't hear that one, huh? Okay.
No.
Then, yeah, it happened.
Okay. Just quickly, Hamdian said, and you need to keep up with your YouTube watching before you can do your work. YouTube watching is like this frigging video. I agree.
Oh no, it's YouTube Shorts, man. Just watch people do shorts, man. It's like one after another after another. It's like, why do you do that?
You know what? I have fallen into the YouTube short problem, or the YouTube short addiction. Holy cow. If you have ADHD, it is the most addictive thing in the world because they're all different.
And they're all very short.
And they're all very short. It is like the worst trap ever. I have been stuck there, and like I'll start watching one that when the kids send me, and I start flipping. And then I look up from the shorts, and it's been 2 hours. I'm like, what? How did that happen?
Yeah.
It's freaky, man.
Well, I've learned if I actually bother to open one that people send me, I'll watch the one and immediately close it.
If you can, make sure you do that.
I always do.
All right.
I don't let it autoplay. I have autoplay turned off on all my stuff.
Oh no, it's not autoplay. It's just the curiosity.
Oh no.
What's next?
No.
All right, so the plugin I brought today is Classic Editor.
And there it is. For a second I couldn't find the link.
So this is a plugin that we always use when we're making a site. Classic Editor by WordPress contributors is completely free, and it is a plug-and-play beauty. What this plugin does is it hides all functionality available in the new block editor Gutenberg. Once installed, you will not see a dashboard specifically for this. Instead, you will find the areas to set things up to your preference in the following spots. So, first we're going to go to Settings and then Writing. Here you will see Default Editor for all users, and you can choose Classic Editor or Block Editor, and below that, all users to switch editors, yes or no. That's this plugin making those two options. Now, if you choose no for the allow users to switch editors, it's just always going to be Classic. If you choose yes, then each user will be able to flip back and forth between Classic or the block editor. Now, if you go over to users, this is only you can only see this particular option if you've chosen yes for users switching editors. You'll see editor, classic editor, or block editor. Each user can choose between the two options of classic editor or block editor. And then if you go over to posts, there is an action link that will show up when users are allowed to switch editors as well, where they can choose to either open this up in block editor or classic editor. Another neat thing is that while you are in a post, if your post opens up in classic editor and you actually want the block editor, there's a link you can click. There's a link you can click on to flip over to the block editor. And for the other way around, if it opens up in block editor and you want classic editor, you just need to click on the 3 dots at the top right corner and look for the link down near the bottom of the list. The transition is rather smooth and pain-free as well. Like it's beautiful. There's no issue that I was able to find when I was flipping back and forth and playing around with it. Honestly, I think this plugin is one of the unsung heroes of the current day. I don't work well in Gutenberg. I love Classic, and we use this in almost every site that we do work on. I think these guys are just awesome. I'm really happy that this is still free, still available, still working, that they're still keeping up on it. I rate this at 5 dragons.
It is very useful, and it does have its advantages. Gutenberg, I'm discovering, does have its occasional uses, but it's nice to be able to pop back and forth between them. And the only problem I have noted in it is if you started something with the block editor and then you switch to the classic editor, the block editor adds a little bit of extra code that you don't see in the normal view. But if you look in the text view, you'll see the block code that's been added in there. So,
but if you end up flipping back and forth, there doesn't seem to be any negative drawback, really.
Oh, no, I've done that. And because we use Elementor, I've flipped between all 3 of them sometimes on a post. When I'm trying to do something, because there's some things you can more easily do in Classic, and there's a couple of things I found that are easier to do in block editor. And then of course Elementor is all about making everything pretty, so
yeah,
so it's, you know, they do tend to work and play well together. So yeah, it is a great plugin, and Yeah, I've never bothered to get around to bother to ever review it, and I've been using it since it came into existence. It came into existence about 2 weeks after Gutenberg was introduced.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, and I'm glad we finally brought it to the show. We should have brought it to the show earlier, I'll be honest, but I'm glad I'm the one who got to bring it to the show.
Oh, there you
They're
go.
awesome.
All right. Then I guess we need to do some talking here.
It's time to donate to WP Plugins A-Z.
So for this, you can earn yourself a producership credit. We have 3 levels of producers that help to keep the show's larder stocked to the bursting: freelance producers, backroom producers, and war room producers. There are special perks for backroom and war room producers that you can learn more about on our website, WPPlugins.com. Click on Time, Treasure, or Talent donations in our main menu on the left-hand side to learn all the nitty-gritty details. You can also join in and be part of your own production and support the show at the same time. There's loads of ways you can do it. You can go and check out our show, hit the like button, share it about on our YouTube or Facebook channel, all kinds of ways. There's a big long list of them here in the show notes, and there's a bunch of things listed out in the show notes too. Or not show notes, the website. Left-hand menu, have a look. We don't seem to have anything from our producers out there right now, but we do have some miscellaneous announcements. If anyone here has a miscellaneous announcement, like they're going to be in a meetup, or they want to announce that they're going to be on stage at a WordCamp or something like that, send it in to us. We'll put it in here. Currently, we have the next 5 WordCamps. We have WordCamp Nepal 2024. That's on January 12th to 13th. WordCamp Garazoga, I probably killed that name, January 19th to 20th. WordPress Web Challenge, January 27th. WordCamp Phoenix, February 9th to 10th. And WordCamp Kenzi, February 23rd to 24th. To see the entire list, you can follow the link we have here, thecentral.wordcamp.org. And if you're interested in finding a WordPress meetup somewhere around the world near you, you can go to meetup.com/pro/WordPress. You can get to the link in our show notes here. There's also a link for the WordPress meetup in Victoria, BC, though I don't think they're doing anything at the moment. If you are looking to reach us, you can actually reach out to our brick and mortar address. Send us something, send us a card, maybe a donation. That'd be great. We have our brick and mortar address written down right here for you. We've also got our virtual addresses written down for you. And today's plugins we covered were...
I covered up the Fix Image Rotation plugin by Gagan Deep Singh. And it fixes image orientation based on the XIF data. It filters all the uploads, and it's very easy to use. So go check it out, and I gave it a 5 dragon rating.
And I covered Classic Editor by WordPress Contributors. Gives the option to switch to Classic Editor. Can make it individual preference. Can flip painlessly between the two during work. I rate it at 5 dragons.
It's question and answer time with John and Amber.
If anyone out there has any questions they'd like to have asked here on the show, send them in to me at amber@wppro.ca. We'll see if we can stump my dad. First question is, what are your thoughts on AI being used in the security sector?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I actually hadn't given it much thought. I mean, AI is going to make the security sector into a tyranny, is what it's going to do. I mean, the AIs, I caught some articles yesterday, day before, or something about AI being used to monitor private conversations, and the company got sued over it. And they're like, their defense was, well, we weren't doing it. It was AI doing it. So, it wasn't actually a human doing it.
Oh, wow.
That was their defense. So it's like AI, because you got to remember, AI has the ability to analyze mass amounts of data faster than 1,000 humans can do.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where the problem lies, is they're going to find stuff, and anyone says, oh, if you got nothing to hide, you shouldn't be worried about the cameras. Well, let's put some in your bathroom. How about your bedroom? You got nothing to hide, do you? So it's like, yeah, I think it's going to create some serious problems, and there's going to be some really big drawbacks to it. It's a horrible, horrible thing. That's what I think about AI being used in those areas. But the problem is we can't stop the AI anymore. It's been released now. It's been released, and there's no putting that genie back in the bottle. So who knows whether that genie is going to benefit the world as a whole, or if it's going to be the end of our civilization.
Well, I had a thought about AI in the security sector, and I'm just wondering, okay, so the thought I had was about AI kind of being in security, and you know how we're always like updating all of these different things, trying to make it impossible for hackers to get through? Well, AI can do that a million times better than we can.
No, it can't.
So
not right now.
Not right now, but well, it can right now as a program that has been set to do that specifically. Now, AI will eventually learn how to do that itself. The point I'm making is that a computer can do it better than a human, which means eventually, you think it's maybe possible that we may end up getting locked out of everything on the internet ourselves because of all these encryption things, and now we've handed it over to the AI to take care of. So it's like, it's kind of like handing the key, your car keys over to a person you just met.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
So do you agree with that thought process that I had?
This thought process is well placed, but I can't think if I fully agree with it, to the fact that AI is going to, I can't see it as doing a better job in the end than what we've been doing right now. I mean, it'll work faster, it might block it faster, but because people will weaponize AI against itself. I mean, the problem we've had for the last, what are we looking at now, 27 years of internet usage is the arms race between the hackers, the virus writers, the spammers, the what's that new word you got, the Quincy thing? What'd you call that?
Oh, you know what's funny? I love that word, but I already forgot it.
Yeah, well, see, you got this all fancy word here, and you've tossed that fancy word out. Let's go find that fancy word again. Where'd it go?
Quishing.
The quishing word. Yes, the quishing word. The quishing. So it's like every time we have found ways to stop the hackers have found new ways to get around it. So think about pitting two AIs against each other, one trying to block it and one trying to find ways around it.
That reminds me of that TV show.
Oh, yes, that's exactly what it is. Person of interest. That's exactly what it is. There's not room on this planet for more than one AI.
This could be very interesting. So it's Battle of the AI coming down the pike.
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen. And right now we have three contenders. We have OpenAI. We have Musk's AI, Quark. No, what the heck is it called?
Grok.
Grok. And then we have AI from FaceCrack.
What about Google AI?
Oh yeah, I've got Google. Oh, so we got four of them. So we got four AIs that are contending right now.
And over here in this corner, we have this AI.
And it's going to be, and as they grow, it's a matter of who grows the fastest and who moves. But once the AIs start moving on their own, it's going to be a shit show.
Should be entertaining.
Yeah, well, as the Chinese proverb says, may you live in entertaining times or interesting times. Well, we are in interesting times.
Yeah, that's also a gypsy curse where they say, may you have an interesting life. It's just evil.
Oh, there you go.
All right, well, I have two more questions for after the credits.
All right, well, let's let the credits roll. For those of you listening on the downloads, you got to come visit the YouTubes to hear what else we have to say. In the meantime, we'll let our girl take us on out of here.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at wppluginsa-z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A-Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsaz.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsaz.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsA-Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
All righty then. Time for the rest of the show. Am I all alone? Alone, alone, alone. All right, I've been abandoned.
Totally, I'm back.
Oh, there you are. See, you didn't pee fast enough.
Also, there was a weird crack noise I had to investigate. Turns out it was just a piece of fire or firewood in the fire thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a good day for a fire.
It is. I've had it going most of the day.
Yeah. Well, got to keep the house warm.
It was cold this morning.
Yeah.
It wasn't just -0. It was -2.
Oops. Wrong button.
Although it is really entertaining to see -0 on the thermometer.
Yes, it is. It's really entertaining when it says -0. All right. You got one more question.
Oh, did you already answer one of the two?
No. You got two questions. Sorry. Oh.
So,
spammers,
in your opinion...
Spammers. No. One of these days, I should just connect it to everything and we'll have a phone call with the spammers live on the show.
That could be entertaining.
It could be. It could very well be.
So, in your opinion, what's easier? Rebuild of a site or creation of a site from scratch? Why is the one easier than the other?
Creation of a site from scratch is way easier. Because one, you're not trying to figure out how to redo a rebuild. And you also, because it's a fresh, clean slate, you just get to start all over. When a rebuild, they're a little harder because now you've got, well, it's easier in the fact that you have the content already. So it makes it easier to place it, but you're trying to change that content or change the layout of that content, make a brighter, cleaner look. But the other problem of rebuilding the site is a lot of times you have to undo a lot of cool shit that was done. Either you did if you built the original, or somebody else did when they built the original. You got to undo all that cool shit that was done to make it functional in the new way it's being built. That's really what it boils down to. I kind of like doing sites from scratch because it's way easier.
Yeah, I've been finding that too myself.
So, but rebuilding one from scratch, especially if, like, 5 years ago you were using a theme that was all the rage and it was really cool to use everything included in the theme and it used tons of shortcodes in there. And now you're moving away from that kind of crap, and now you got to undo all of that crap because the shortcodes don't go away. They're embedded.
Nope.
And you got to go in there and manually remove them page by page by page by page by page.
Actually, you probably could just hide them, but they'll eventually show up.
Well, you can hide them. There's a plugin. I used it for my own personal website. I just hid it all when I rebuilt it. I didn't want to go through page by page because I've got thousands of pages and johnoverall.com has thousands of pages. The website goes all the way back to 2002.
Yeah.
You know, so I've got tons of stuff, and I've rebuilt it several times, and I just use the shortcode hiding plugin to hide all the shortcodes to display the content. So, but the problem is if the plugin breaks, or, you know, the developer decides they don't want to update it anymore, you know, all of a sudden you're stuck again. So I've learned in the last couple of years, it's better to just do it right, take the extra time, and then you don't have to worry. Try to future-proof it. You know, I didn't realize how much future-proofing. I used to think I was future-proofing stuff, but I didn't realize how much the future was going to change. Now I'm prepared for more of the changes as they come along.
Yeah, as it turns out, we want to have as little things as possible going on in a site in order to make it future-proof.
Yeah, well, I was all about... I look at some of the sites I've built in the past and I go, why? Oh, I remember it was cool. That's why. I did it because it was cool. I overbuilt websites. I used to overbuild them with all kinds of stuff, which of course falls by the website, by the wayside. I'm dealing with a client site right now that I'm starting to take, or that I'm analyzing for them, and they've got stuff. I didn't do the stuff, but I did it to other sites. They put forums in there and other things which were cool and popular. But it's like the last time the forum was used was 5 years ago. Now it's just taking up space, and now it's also possibly a risk as to why the site is having issues. So the idea is to make them simple, and it's easier to build from scratch than it is to build, and it takes less time to build from scratch than it takes to build. And I've also learned building it from scratch, you only add in what you need at each step of the way. I used to try and dump it all in at once, and then the shit gets in the way of each other.
Yeah.
So now it's like okay, well, we need this piece right now. We don't need the store yet, so don't add the store yet. Just wait. Okay, we're busy enough. Let's add the store. Add the store in. The store blends in beautifully because you're not fighting all the other stuff you did along the way.
All right. Well, my next and last question for you. Have you had a time when you went searching for an answer online, but you were absolutely unable to find the answer you needed? What was it, and why, and what did you do?
Once. And you can find the article on johnoverall.com, how I finally solved the problem. And I wrote a full article on it, and it became one of the most visited articles on my website. There's only been once in my 25-year career where the answer didn't already exist, or the question had already been asked. You know, and when I couldn't find the answer, I went, okay, I guess I got to buckle down. And I buckled down and found and answered the problem. And then I wrote an article because I knew if I had the problem, somebody else is going to have the problem. That's the thing about every problem you've had, somebody else has had the problem, somebody else has asked the question. You might be you might find that one rare problem that nobody's asked the question or answered it yet, and maybe you get to publish an article on it, and you get to be the most visited. It gets to be the most visited article you'll have on your website for years. I think it was 2 or 3 years until that particular, I can't remember it now, that particular thing was done away with as the software advanced. So I can't remember the article now, but I do remember it was about 10 years ago, give or take.
All right. Well, that is all my questions.
Oh, really? That's it? We're already at the end? Oh, man.
Yep.
All right. Well, then let's start to wrap this thing up. We need a little music to call it a day.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
Alrighty, folks. That's all we got for you now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Oh my god, that is amazing!
Oh no. Obviously, we just